Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm China Green. We start with updates from the two separate shootings that killed two people late last night. It happened within 30 minutes of each other. One of them took place in North Portland and the other in Northeast. Police responded to the first shooting just after 11 last night near the intersection of Northeast MLK and Columbia Boulevard. They found a man with a gunshot wound when they arrived at that scene. He was taken to the hospital, where police say he later died. No arrests have been made, and the identity of the man killed has not been released. The other shooting happened at North Williams and Ivy Street. Police say when they got there around 11:30 last night, they found one man who was already dead. They haven't made any arrests, and it's still not clear who the victim is or their age. But we did speak to a nearby neighbor.
Can't imagine what kind of a place somebody's head is in where human life is that cheap.
We will bring you updates on both shootings when we learn more. Headed over to Ron Hill now for a look at the local weather.
Well, it's over. Good afternoon to you. Over being the wettest part of our day. You can see the rain band now moving up north of Kelso and Longview for the most part, and that will continue pushing away from us. Now, we will have a continued scattered shower threat out there for you this afternoon, but there's not much, certainly south of Portland, and there's not much offshore right now. So I think we're going to get into a lot of dry time, or certainly more dry than wet. Rainfall amounts for the valley about what we thought they'd be. Remember, the projection was 1/10 of an inch to less than 2/10, and we had 12/100 in Portland, 15/100 in Salem. The coast was expected to get 1/4 of an inch or maybe a little bit more, and the wet spot was up in Astoria, and that was only 22/100. That rain band is gone, and look at this. It is clear in Lincoln City. Beautiful view from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera. It's 51. Pretty nice. And we are rapidly seeing sun breaks develop throughout the valley. Here's the Oregon Garden Resort down in Silverton. That is showing some partly cloudy skies. And downtown Portland, although this vantage point doesn't show it very well, we are seeing some blue spots open up. We're at 52 degrees. Looks like mid-50s for us this afternoon. 47, mainly dry if you're going to be outside at 8 p.m. Your complete forecast into the weekend coming up.
Thank you, Rod. The search continues into its fourth day for a missing boy who disappeared over the weekend while playing in his front yard near the Oregon coast. Crews are working through the night, in the air, on the ground, and in the water to find 2-year-old Dane Paulson. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says crews have covered more than 300 miles so far. And if you take a look at this map, you can see Dane's family lives off of Highway 299 north of Siletz and lives less than 100 feet from the Siletz River. Multiple agencies, including the FBI, are now a part of this search. They are using divers, canine units, and drones with thermal imaging equipment, plus hundreds of volunteers from across the Northwest.
Washington, Idaho. I've talked to people from Boise. We heard about it. We're on our way over. Castle Rock. I can't remember the name of the town up in Puget Sound. Port Orford.
Dane was last seen wearing a gray fuzzy hoodie with ears, black pants, and blue and white shoes. He has brown hair, green eyes. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to contact the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. They've set up a tip line. The number is there on your screen, 541-265-0669. President Donald Trump is set to address a joint session of Congress tonight, talking about actions he's taken in the first few weeks in office and laying out his vision for the future. This comes after new U.S. tariffs on imported goods took effect overnight and the U.S. ending military aid to Ukraine. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
This morning, trade tensions ramping up with China announcing retaliatory tariffs on some U.S. food imports. Canada vowing similar steps in response to new U.S. tariffs that took effect overnight, including a blanket 25% tariff on all imported goods from Canada and Mexico and an additional 10% on Chinese imports.
What they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
American companies now bracing to eat added costs or pass them along to consumers. This Michigan auto parts producer imports 30% of its materials from Canada.
It means dramatically increased costs that we might not be able to recover.
At the same time, President Trump pausing military aid to Ukraine, according to 2 U.S. officials. After a public clash, the president asked what it would take to restart negotiations with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky toward a peace deal with Russia.
I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin.
Democrats urging swift action.
Without our assistance, this gets very, very hard for the Ukrainians. And by the way, it gets easy for Russia. This is what Russia wants.
Democratic lawmakers also inviting fired federal workers to President Trump's address to Congress tonight. Erin Rehill lost her job with the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency after her boss assured her she was safe.
We have justified why you're vital to the organization.
She wants to put a face to the nation's federal workforce.
When you work for this country, you feel a pride in the work that you do.
As President Trump prepares to defend his vision for the country. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And you can catch President Trump's full congressional address right here on KGW and on our TV app KGW Plus starting at 6 o'clock. So that means there will be no 6 o'clock news, the story, or the good stuff. After the address, though, you can catch a special edition of KGW News at 9 o'clock on KGW and KGW Plus. Now at noon, firefighters responded to a barn fire early this morning north of Malala on South Buckner Creek Road. No one was injured, but one dog did die here. Clackamas Fire says the building contained a heavy fuel load. Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of that fire. For the second year in a row, Multnomah County is seeing a large spike in winter Shigella infections. Last month, the county recorded the most cases it's seen in more than a dozen years. Shigella can cause severe diarrhea, fever, and fatigue. And according to health officials, it's typically transmitted when human waste from an infected person gets into another person's mouth through contaminated food, sexual contact, or indirect contact like someone touching their mouth after touching a contaminated surface. Access to sanitation also plays a role in transmission. Most symptoms can resolve without treatment, but more severe cases may need antibiotics. All right, pet owners in Oregon and Washington, listen up. Wild Coast Raw in Olympia, Washington is recalling a lot of its frozen, boneless, free-range chicken formula for cats after some of them tested positive for bird flu. The recall comes after the Oregon Department of Agriculture found the same strain of bird flu found in the food in local cats. The affected products have Best By data of 12/25. So if you have this product and you have already given it to your pet, the FDA says you should watch for symptoms of bird flu. Just in this afternoon, Alaska Airlines announced that they will be the official airline partner of Portland's new WNBA team and is renewing its partnership with the Portland Thorns. Thorns will feature Alaska Airlines on the back of their kits. And Alaska Airlines says anyone wearing Thorns gear will enjoy priority boarding on Alaska Airlines flights departing Portland through 2025. And with the new WNBA franchise, Alaska Airlines will sponsor the Throw for Charity campaign. For each successful free throws or three-pointers, Alaska Airlines will contribute miles to a local community partner.
I think it's just something so cool because they want to empower women and just want to bring the sport together. And, you know, the collab with the WNBA as well, I think it's going to be amazing.
According to Alaska Airlines, it's currently offering more than 100 average daily departures from Portland to 58 nonstop destinations.